For many years now, consensus has emerged from Nigerians that fundamental cause of the country's chronic underdevelopment is bad leadership characterized by insane corruption amongst the ruling elite. But then a sober reflection would indicate that at the root of corruption is hypocrisy, which often serves as a veneer for covering up the deep character flaws, especially in prominent politicians, public servants and the elite generally. Like every other behavioral quality, people manifest different levels of hypocrisy depending on complex genetic and environmental factors. It is beyond dispute that top public figures, especially politicians, celebrities, and political office holders, just like influential clerics, have elevated hypocrisy to the level of an art. Many celebrities regularly give eloquent and inspiring motivational speeches and pretend to be paragons of virtue, whereas their private lives are chaotic and fake, the very opposite of what they profess in public. Many Nigerians are increasingly coming to the realization that the 2023 election is of utmost importance to vote the right person, and the last election rank as one of the greatest triumphs of hypocrisy in Nigerians' political history. Nigerian election is either rigged in by the powerful cabal who organized the elections or voted in by a populace that is more concerned with ethnicity and religion than with the progress of the nation. The consequence has been backwardness and disappointment. A mediocre leader cannot transform a country. It is worse when the country is such a diverse and complex one like Nigeria. Ironically, Nigerians celebrate brilliant leaders of other countries. They know those who have the capacity to transform Nigeria and those who do not have capacity. In conclusion, as Nigerian gallops towards 100 years of amalgamation, one of the most contentious issues have been the place of quota system and meritocracy in government. Meritocracy campaigners argue that Nigeria is backward because public offices are not filled on the basis of merit. They contend that we promote mediocrity under the guise of federal character by not giving the jobs to the best candidate. In other words, let there be open competition for both elective and appointive positions so that the most qualified would always occupy them. This standpoint means that there should be no zoning or rotation of political offices. There should be no quota system and federal character.
We are in a very interesting times. As people, you don't need a prophet to tell you that a nation with Nigeria's youth unemployment rate will be violent as more and more politicians are throwing themselves into the ring for various public offices. Remember, it is your vote that will validate your choice on election day. Pick up your voter's card and choose the right leader and secure your future.
You're welcome back. What a great mini feature.
Yes.
My co-host has become a political juggernaut. In fact, this your mini feature is great. Well done.
Thank you. Yes.
That's a great one. And I hope it sells and it makes sense to people who listen to it. Because you just went to the cocoa, you went to the foundation of the problems of hypocrisy and mediocrity in Nigeria. Our guest is still around with us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you listen to what she does did.
Yes, I did.
I want your comment, introductory comment, before I begin to ask questions.
Well, I think
hypocrisy, mediocrity
has become
let me just to help you out then.
Very well.
You see, through this thing has given us a lot of wahala in this country, trouble and problems. Things which ought to be done easily are done through the back door or not done at all. All because you see the right thing and doing it the wrong thing, picking the wrong person to fill in the right place. As they say it in English, using the square peg in the right hole, and things like that.
Yes, hypocrisy, and the second one is what?
Mediocrity
have become the bane of our democratic process. You know, once you become a public figure, you lose sight of the pulse of the people whom you are to represent, you begin to listen to praise singers, or what we call sycophants, who usually at your beck and call to advise you. Some of them are your advisors, so you wouldn't see beyond your noses, and that will impair your performance and the expectations of the people. So we have become so hypocritical in a way that we become pretentious about things. You know, we begin to, you know, see things the way it ought not to have been seen. And on the other aspect of it, which borders on not allowing credible persons to lead us based on tribalism, nepotism, whatever be the consideration or political consideration, we are now left with, this person is my own. You know, he's our own. Whether he rightly or wrongly, he must be there at all costs. So if you look at Nigerian system generally, I don't want to mention a particular tribe, but you begin to see that it appears that it is one set of people that has continuously been in leadership position in this country. And is that how it's supposed to be? I'm not against people from every other geopolitical zone being represented, but the point I'm making is that we must get the right person, irrespective of where that person comes from.
Okay, there's this cliche in Nigeria, we call it eye service. Can we fit into this one? That's the local palace, eye service. Can it work? Goes with this.
That is psychophancy. In fact, politics in Nigeria is about psychophancy. The truth of you cannot even become a good politician in Nigeria if you are not a psychophant. That is the unwritten truth. If you are not a psychophant, you cannot be a good politician.
But it's not supposed to
because you must be seen licking the asses of those who are in power, and maybe you'll be compensated. That is at the end of the day, okay, this person has served me faithfully. It is not about serving Nigeria faithfully.
But me.
You have served me, yes, exactly, faithfully. So you must be compensated. Go and become the chairman of a local government. Go and become this.
Now that you went there, you just get as you just bring out these things.
No,
that's what we call loyalty. Do you know?
Yeah,
they say they are loyal, and and we have seen people who have suffered. They are very
false
good.
Loyalty.
They are very good. But because they are not loyal as it is perceived by their political leaders, they are now put to the dustbin.
Yeah, because
many of them.
Yeah, loyalty.
So that now has encouraged psychophancy.
Exactly. So because loyalty in politics is psychophancy. Once you begin to exert your right, or you begin to say the truth as it were, you are no longer loyal, and you must be booted out. So it has become part and parcel of our political process. Yes, where you must tell the leaders what they want to know or hear, and not what is the truth or what is obtainable.
Can this thing actually stop? This part of the
of course it can, but it takes the willingness of the people. It is not just about the politics. It now fall down on the people to realize that what goes around comes around. It's like a rat race. When you are supporting someone because of peanut you are getting, how will your children go to school? What will be the economy situation? Because economy doesn't care who you are supporting or who you supported at the time. So that damage will not only affect you, it will also affect your own children and the society at large. So we have to have this consciousness. That is a rat race. Whatever we do will come back to us in a way, either directly or indirectly. If we have that at the back of our minds, we will begin to do the proper thing. We will begin to say the truth to power. We begin, especially those who are close to corridors of power, to advise those who has their listening ears, because it is very key. When a leader is in power, he gets all sort of information, and at some point he finds it very difficult to make an informed decision. He falls back at those whom he trusts. So those are the people that will tell him the truth. But because you look at the political terrain, you want to please your paymaster. Say who pays the tune, how do they put it?
Who pays the piper?
Determines the tune. So instead of you to tell Oga, this is not obtainable. This is the perception of the people. This is the impression of people about us. Can we do it this way? You say no. You have praise singers. You see some governors move around with even a band. You know, if you make a statement, they start dancing. That is the psychology of politicians we have in this country, and that is what they want.
Do you have
we have messages? Of course, yes. Anyways, this one says, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. No patriotism and national interest in Nigeria because of ethnic, religious sentiment, personal interest, etc. Barrister Wale, please, what is the legality of a state governor appointing 200,000 special assistants when election is approaching and make executive order that any political party that wants to use public facility to pay ridiculous fee before accessibility? Now, is that democracy? Thank you, sir, for the wonderful work. Professor Charles from Lagos.
Professor,
yes.
Why the professor they ask ordinary me like this? That can't be question now. How do you want a ordinary person like me to answer a whole prof this kind of question? But anyway, since you talked about legal, that's my route. It's legally, he is constitutionally given the power. He has a constitutional right to run the government. It is for you people to look at it if it's all right or not. Next time you vote such person out. You see, that is all the things we are talking on this program. And we pray that of God will use this program to turn and sanitize Nigeria. And it's about national interest. Is it in the interest of a nation that such appointments will be made? You need to look at it. So once we determine that, then it's in your hand. The power is with you. You are the one that will determine type of people that will govern over you, that will be your leaders, so as to ensure that good governance does not suffer.
I want to really read
if I can just
yes, because that
issue of appointing governors, appointing 2,000 special 200,000.
Yes, that's what it put
so
there.
You know, for me, let me not do the work of the security agencies. It's actually a form of I don't know how to put it so that I don't sound so personal. But the point is that it is unacceptable.
Yes.
For a governor or any political office holder to appoint 200,000 persons as advisors. What are they advising?
They are political.
How many? The entire community. How many are there?
He will tell you they are.
So mean every day these 200,000 persons will line up and be advising you on what?
No.
We have this kind of
political setup.
The purpose of this is actually to pay those political jobbers, just to pay those who were instrumental to your success, to power. It's a compensation period. And you see, more often than not, this thing comes during the end of a person's tenure. You know, use it as like a Father Christmas, a jamboree. Everybody come and take your share for a job well done, and we go back. With that perception, we'll go nowhere.
Okay.
And the second leg of your is, if anybody does well, if you perform very well, you don't need that number of people.
No, yes. You don't need 200,000 persons.
It goes to show.
It's abnormality to have 200,000 persons as advisors.
It's going to show that
in a saner country, those persons or those leaders who appoint this type of number of persons needs to go through evaluation. You need psychological evaluation. How do you justify 200,000 persons as advisors?
We don't have such in this insane country, so it doesn't happen at all. Because just as you said, sane. This is an insane country.
So but we have to be patriotic anyway.
One question is that how about making executive order that any political party that wants to use a public facility should pay a ridiculous amount of money before they can access that facility?
Because within the legislative purview of state legislators to do
it's an executive order, but to me it should be done across the board, not just against political opponents. I've seen that order by a governor, and which I know that definitely if others in that state can say no, if it applies to us, it must apply to your party too. So then that's how it will be.
It's a political strategy. It's a form of hunting the opponents. You know, it's like the hand of Esau in the body of Jacob. We know the reason behind some of those legislation or those executive orders is targeted at certain individuals, and that is what we are discussing here. that policies and programs of government must be in the generality of the people. You don't say because you are fighting your opponent, you make a law or you make an executive order because of an individual. It ought not to be so.
Okay, the next message is, who do we Nigerians think is suitable to rule this country with experience, good governance, ideas, truthfulness, and fear of God? We should open our eyes to watch all the aspirants and tell ourselves the right person, not minding where he comes from. Thank you.
Exactly.
And to confirm that again, I've told you that the place to know who to vote for is through Votersforum. This program called Votersforum, because I'm sure we are giving you the expose gradually. By the time you get to the election proper, you have known that yes, this is the person you are going to vote for.
You know,
both national and local.
Yeah. So what I was thinking, because you know, when you look at the election process in Nigeria and the voting and all of that, it appears that politicians have a way, because we are discussing this. It's an elitist people who have certain level of education will be able to even interrogate or make inquiries about a particular candidate, whether the person is right, is good or not. Those in the rural villages like Boronu and as the case may be, may not have that competence to make an informed decision. Some persons have advocated that we should have electoral college where certain persons will be eligible to vote. You know, maybe it will be based on your educational qualification or your status in the society, because beyond the elitists and the educated, those illiterates, I said it with greater respect, those in the rural areas, they don't even know those they are voting. Their own is that they look up to a particular leader in their community who will now give them a direction on who to vote. And because that particular person in their community has some political affiliations, whether the candidate is right or wrong, you will push them. So at the end of the day, we continue to have the same caliber of leadership. So beyond the voting, citizens and voters must also be awake to scrutinize those who are vying for positions of authority.
During the last primary elections, particularly of the two major political parties, the electoral system was the electoral college system was used, and we knew what happened. A lot of money changed hands, to the extent that, of course, some Nigerians were saying that it's because of electoral college that we have the type of candidates we have foisted on us. And many people will not like the idea of an electoral college because it is fraught with irregularities and fraud, apart from inducement in this country, taking into consideration the level of education that we are. But be that as it may, is a view, and we appreciate it, and maybe that's what will happen.
The view is valid.
Before the elections, maybe we'll discuss it, the importance, the implications of electoral college. And
that view is valid, because you can even see it play out in the primary elections of political parties. Because at that level, it's not everybody that is voting, but delegates from their own political party. So whoever they decide. In fact, somebody mentioned after the primary election of political parties that those delegates has actually are the ones that vote for who becomes the president. Yes, because whoever they vote within their primary, their political level, will eventually become the president or governor.
Okay. I have two messages here.
Okay,
this one says, good afternoon. It is only in Nigeria I see things going the wrong way, most especially in this government. Everything about this government is just a failure. Another says, people with bullion van going about freely and nothing has been done about it. What a country we are in. Let's vote right and think right at the same time. It is a time to shine our eyes.
Indeed, indeed, it's the time to shine our eyes. That's why this program is on, for you to shine your eyes. This is the time for us to organize ourselves and not to agonize, not to be complaining. This time, use this. This is your power. This is your power, not this, and not to be talking. It is this alone that can do the magic. Use your tongue, vote in the right candidates, and of course, Nigeria will be a better place. I do normally use the example of Ghana. Ghana was in a state of quagmire years ago, but here we are today, to the extent that Nigerians go to Ghana for education. Even some people go to work in Ghana because the economy, stability, security all day yafu in Ghana, as we normally say. But before we go on our homeward stretch, we'll take a break for us to have one or two announcements, and of course we'll take some messages again. Then our guests will hit the road home. Maybe we can release him to go for his Christmas New Year break. Now he don't pass. He don't pass.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Wale.